because I might steal your speech. So there, no, thank you so much for Stacey Miner. But we have Rich Schmerling, who's going to come up and do the introduction, so I can have a little breather here at the moment. So Rich Schmerling, who's the past Vice President of Kenosha Community Media, would like to introduce our keynote speaker.
Before I do that, I wanted to tell you all that Stroby's Flower Cart, Amy Perry, was nice enough to donate the candies that are at all the place settings. Feel free, they're yours. And if you look under your chairs, you're going to find a "You Are the Winner," and you've won the place setting, the centerpiece in the middle of the table. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce a friend on behalf of Kenosha Community Media. Right under the center of your chair, there should be a hanging, one at each table. It's probably yours, Rich. I don't think so. But it is my great pleasure on behalf of Kenosha Community Media to introduce the one and only Stacey Miner.
Thank you guys very, very much. And see, it is under your chair, isn't it, Rich? We knew it. Somehow it wound up under Rich's chair. Oh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Thanks, guys, very, very much for having me. And my sincere sympathies on your loss of Mr. Werner. Congratulations to all of you recipients for your awards. I met Rich and Jamie. Jamie was a surprise to me coming here tonight. One of the first TV pilots that I did, the three of us wound up on a jury. Go figure. It was actually called Judge and Jury, and it never made it to TV, but we got a lifetime relationship and friendship. And I played a dead body there. We're going to get to that. Dean did a little announcement on your website and said, Stacey Miner, she's been on Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Empire, all of that. And yes, I was, 60 episodes. But in that, I was background. But I've been on over 150 episodes of movies and other shows. But background, there's different phases of background. I brought all of these pictures to prove to you I really was there. Because if any of you went back to watch any of these shows, you're probably going, no, don't see her. No, no, she's not there. That was probably when I met Lori. There's a couple of people here that I actually did do background with that live in the area that decided to come here to the event, probably to see what I had to see. That was the Chicago Med. But anyway, in doing all of these episodes, it actually started out I needed a little extra money. So I decided this is something that I've always wanted to do. Who hasn't wanted to get in front of the camera, or who hasn't put on a rock concert in your shower stall? You know, who hasn't stood in front of the mirror? No pointing to spouses. They're fine. But who hasn't done that and walked away with an award and given the best performance of your life until you get out to your mailbox and your neighbor catches you doing it, and then you're like, song stuck in my head, that kind of thing. It's not as easy as it looks. People will say, go over there and act normal until somebody tells you to act normal. Everybody can walk straight from there until they say, act normal like nobody's watching you. And then for some reason it turns in from this to, it's a panic moment, but it happens. But everything in the background, you're either featured, you're kind of someone that, I think that was them, or you're in the background, or you're so far in the background you don't even make it in the shot. And I've been all of those. Every single thing is placed very, down to the minute split second of a car placed on the street, 100 people walking across a street. All of that is placed. And perfect example of nothing is too small. You get in this business and they say no part is too small. on Chicago Justice. I don't know if you guys remember that show, but that was part of the Chicago shows a few years ago. You were in that? Well, I became a core attorney on that show, which means once they've seen you in a certain role, they continue to put you in that role because they can't have you an attorney one day and a bartender the next, and then you're standing on a corner selling yourself on the next. You know, they have people that watch the shows for these consistencies. So in Chicago Justice, I was either a reporter or I was an attorney. So one day they stick us on the show and they load us in a bus and they say, going to set, we have 20 reporters, we have a lady pushing a baby carriage, and we have a jogger. Try to put that together. So we get there and we're standing in line getting ready to get our props, and the PA stands up and says, I don't have the lady pushing the baby carriage. You, points to the lady in front of me. Can you push the baby carriage? Now, all of you producers and directors in here know the worst thing anyone can do is say, no. We're there to make your jobs easier. So she says, no. You hired me to be a reporter? I'm going to be a reporter. Oh yeah, you could have heard a pin drop. Everybody, ooh. So my hand went up. I said, Jacob, I'll push your baby carriage. You have no idea what that's for, and you think, what the hell? You got 20 reporters and push a baby carriage. I'll do it. So, expand the resume a little bit. So everybody gets propped up, and this particular scene, Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, and Chicago Justice, all 4 shows came together to recreate, it was a true story of some kid who set a fire to a warehouse in California. He put plugs in the doors. He wasn't invited. He put plugs in the doors. He set fire, and there was about 36 kids that he killed. That was the dead body that you saw me playing. I'll get to that one. I was supposed to be a 28-year-old person that didn't show up there, but anyway. So I'm pushing they tell me, we're going to have all these reporters. They're going to, the Chicago PD cops are going to get out. They're going to run across the street, and all these reporters are going to try to get a statement from them. They're going to open the door, try to talk to the parents. This is where this kid lives. When we say action, you're going to walk on the sidewalk, you're going to push this baby carriage, and you're going to stop on the piece of tape. The little jogger is going to come towards you. It's going to stop and tell you how cute your little plastic baby is in there. And then when I give you the sign, you're going to keep walking again. Okay, that's what you do. That's your job. That's what you do. So we get to the end of filming, and the girl says to me, we get on the bus, and if you'll excuse me, she was pissed. She came up. She said, I saw the replay. They stuck me all the way at the end. I never made it as a reporter, but I saw you pushing that baby carriage. Well, that was stupid. What were you pushing a baby carriage for? I said, funny you should say that, I asked. I said, across the street, downstairs, is a window that says State Farm. They asked the people of the business, can we put a blanket over the window because we can't advertise for you? And they said, no, we don't want any of our customers to think that we're not open today. So they got creative. I, pushing my baby, covered State Farm. Okay, so everything is strategically placed. Same episode. I was 4 people in that episode. Thank God for a great casting and makeup crew. You don't know. That dead body, we were sitting in a tent. 100 people were in there. And I was supposed to be a mourner at a vigil. I was also supposed to be someone walking on the sidewalk for a riot. This is what background does. You go, they stick you where, you might get lucky, you make friends with producers and directors, and they'll say, come on up, help me out. So we're sitting in a room of 100 people, and someone walks out, and they stand on a chair, and they say, anyone in this room, size 4, wear a size 8 shoe, 5'6", like a string on the end of my hand. There it goes again. Here you go. They're like, come with me. They said, do you mind if we put blood and dirt and ashes and everything all over you, SPX? I'm like, no, this is going to be fun. Let's go do it. So they said, we're recreating a scene of all of these kids, 28-year-olds that are, and I looked at them and I said, well, I matched the other criteria, but I'm not 28. So they said, that's okay. We're going to put enough dirt and blood and ashes on you to where we're going to fix that and you're going to fit right in. And I'm like, was that a compliment? Great. Okay, let's do it. So we did it. But playing dead is not easy. Honest to God, it's cold. Casey's standing up. Yeah, see the blur? You're either a blur or you're up front. That's me. You're either a blur or you're up front. So you're laying on a tarp. It's cold outside. Casey's putting out a fire on a building. So the water is drifting down on you. Your lips are probably turning blue. You're shaking. You've got all the SPX all over you, which is the fun part. You've got a toe tag saying you're dead. And they say, take your last breath, and you have to hold your breath. It was kind of funny, though, when they're like, okay, cut. And everybody, whew, and you see air everywhere. But that's what it is. I'm the first to volunteer because you want to play different places. Our job is to make their job easier. So I decided I didn't want to be in the background anymore. I have too much fun, and I want to be in the front. So what do? Well, I have no idea. Do I just wait till somebody picks me and says, you're the next NBC star. Come on up here, because that's not how it works. So you start talking to people, and thank God for Kenosha Community Media. You talk to people. You find out, what can I do for a next step? Where can I go? Since being background, I'm now on my 7th speaking role in films. One of them is the Paul Sabin story. It is being submitted to a film festival as we speak. I met someone on Empire. I became a core reporter on Empire, which is on Fox. So they start to see you in that role often. So I met someone who said, I wrote a story, and the more I watch you, I think you would be perfect to play a part in this script. Oh, great. Let's have it. Well, you hear nothing, so you keep doing background. You run into him again, and same thing. I've got you pegged in this script. So finally, he sends you the script, and now you are Chief Gloria Sanders. You are an officer and whole 9 yards. Read the script. We filmed the entire show. Had a mentor. He was a 4-time chief. He's a retired chief of police. So I got to learn a lot about the part. I got to learn a lot about, being in front of the camera. So it's filmed. It is currently over in the UK. May be derailed in the United States. We don't know. But hoping it comes back someday. Don't know how that's going to turn out. But you chalk that part up to experience. But because of that, I met other people. So now I'm in another film. I'm currently in a horror film called Evil Lurks. I don't watch horror films. I like this storyline, though. I will watch this, and I love the storyline. But you read the script, you can really get into it, you get the part, you start doing it. So I'm starting to do a bunch of those. I got signed by an agent in January. You have to start taking classes. You have to start coming in contact with other people in the business. Got to classes. I can't afford these classes. What am I going to do? People said, take workshops. So I start going for free workshops because I couldn't afford anything else. I went from working in law. I worked in law offices for 28 years. And now I'm a full-time cashier. I work 2 other part-time jobs so that I can make the filming work. Is it your passion? Is it something you love to do? You're going to find a way to do that. You incorporate it around your life, around your friends, and you lose a lot of friends and a lot of family. They don't understand. They don't understand schedules. They think you're out of your mind. You're nuts. I've had doors closed from family members of holidays. We don't know what the hell she's going through. We don't know. Second life, all of that kind of, you hear it all. But when you find your passion, I didn't just jump in and start doing it. I truly believe that God sent me to a bad spot in life to where I had to change everything. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. And if you suck at it, nobody has to know. You don't ever have to do it again. But if you really like it, what have you got to lose? So, Go to a workshop. They start talking about you need headshots, you need all of this. They start telling you what you need to do. So now you've got a plan. So here comes another workshop. It's a free workshop, and it comes up with the Chicago Actor Studio. Free workshop. So I change a day at work so I can go to the workshop. I walk in, there's someone sitting next to me that I know, and she looks at me and she says, "Can you believe Ed Fogel is going to do this workshop?" Ed Fogel? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's what I did. Ed Fogel. Who the hell is Ed Fogel? Well, I was taught always look intelligent. So I'm starting the workshop. Here comes this little guy. He's wearing jeans, Converse shoes, T-shirt. Gets up, starts talking. I'm like, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Break comes along, and I Google Ed Fogel. Oh, well, I was a little intimidated. The next half of the workshop was completely different for me. I thought, this guy really knows what he's talking about, and he's probably looking at me saying, that girl really has no clue. So he's telling us what to do, and at the end of the show, he says, okay, I'm going to set up a camera, workshop, who wants to get up, who's going to slate, who's going to... There's that string on the end of my hand again. It flew. I'm like, I'll do it. And I thought, where did that come from? You're about to make an ass out of yourself in front of all these people. And I thought, but probably half these people don't know how to do it either. That's what we're here for. I don't want to follow somebody else. I want to get up, and I want to do it. That's what we're here for. If I do it wrong, he's going to fix me. I don't want to follow somebody else and act like I know what I'm doing, because I really have no clue. That's what I'm doing here. So I got up and I did it, and he said, who's your agent? I thought, this guy must think I'm pretty good. I said, I don't have one. That's why I'm here. So he said, you need to be in my class. I said, I can't. I've already Googled you. I can't afford you. So I stuck around after class, and he started talking to me, and he said, you have a talent. You have no skill, but you have a talent. Everybody has a talent. Whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, an artist, whatever it is, we all have a talent. But unless you have the skill to go with that, you're not going to do anything with it. He said, but I will teach you that skill if you really want to learn it. And I said, well, I can't afford to do it, but I really want to learn it, and I'm going to find a way. And he said, I will help you. Sometimes that's all it takes, is one person to say, I believe in you, I will help you. That was my Ed Fogel. And he worked out something with me. The work schedule that I have is I'm off different days during the week. So I said, I can't come to the same class every week because I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my benefits. I can't do that. He said, well, you let me know when your days are off. If I'm not filming or taping or doing whatever, I'll work with you, and we'll come to some sort of agreement. We did, monetarily. And he said, but I'm going to make one deal with you, and this is the only reason why you're getting the deal that you're getting. I will give you my time and my knowledge. You got to give me the work. He said, and the day that you stop giving you my work, I will no longer waste my time with you. Deal? And we shook. Deal. And so it began. So the first time I go in, he gives me a monologue. Read this, you're going to come perform. Oh, well, that sounds pretty easy now, doesn't it? Once again, haven't you heard me in the shower? I mean, we've all done great, right? So I'd walk the dog, everything that I did, I'm memorizing it, I'm performing this great show. I go to my next class, I perform, and he does the, he said, how'd that feel? I said, well, that felt pretty good. How'd that sound? You're looking for those 2 words. That's great. Oh, I got 2 words. That sucked. And I thought, well, who the hell are you, Ed Fogel? And everybody needs an Ed Fogel. Everybody needs to know what you're doing wrong. Everybody needs the honesty. That changes things. You don't want someone to feed what you're doing wrong. You need someone to feed what you need to be doing right. And I've had friends all along, and everybody needs a Tracy Bell. Tracy Bell is a great friend in my life, that worst time in my life, and no matter what I was going through, she never, I'm lucky to have those friends that said, do it. You're doing it. Great. You're living it. So what if you have to sacrifice this? This is what's making you happy. We're here. You're not going to do this alone. So since then, I have really had the privilege of working with some great people in the business that I can call friends and mentors. And I got to work with Max Arcienega. He played Crazy 8 on Breaking Bad. I got to work with him for several hours. I got to work with some other producers where I just started out doing background and made a couple of friends. There was just a show out called Captive State. I'm not a sci-fi person. We were just talking about this. I'm not a sci-fi person, but Captive State with John Goodman and Ben Daniels. And Rupert Wyatt was the director, and he did The Planet of the Apes Returns. And I wound up being in one of his scenes for the next 3 days. And lo and behold, because I don't see sci-fi, I didn't know that I made the 2-minute scene on the big screen. And, you know, people start texting me one night. Here you are, here's some pictures, here's that. That's the most amazing feeling in the world. It feels great, but all I did was sit on a bus for 3 days. It was supposed to be filmed. I was going to Montreal, but it was at McCormick Place here in Chicago. Amazing how they can do. Oh, that was, did you just see those two on there? That was those two. So your dreams are visions that a lot of people don't see but you. And you have to follow them through. And what you find when you get to the end of yourself. Don't let people convince you differently, not to follow your dream, not to give it a try. Like I said, it just takes that one person to say they believe in you. One of the other jobs that I've been doing along the way is I transcribe, not in legal, but I met this lady who is a ghostwriter for professional sports players. She writes memoirs and autobiographies for NFL players, NBA players, sports agents, Hall of Famers. Very interesting. And I think that was put in my life for a reason as well, because the second that you want to give up, God puts the right people, the right circumstances, things in your life that let you know you're okay. You're not alone. You're not the only one. And there are many sayings from these transcriptions that I have put on my refrigerator that these people have said. And the one that I look at every single morning when I get up, a professional sports player, Michael McGinnis, said, "Your success is determined by where you decide to quit." And he couldn't be more right. And he said, the earlier you commit to something, the more you limit your opportunities, because much too often we make a decision based on, I'm never going to get this opportunity again, so I'm going to take the first thing that comes along. So we take an opportunity based on the first offer, not based on what we want. So you have to get past that. I've been going on auditions. As a matter of fact, when I got here today, my agent contacted me. I have an audition tomorrow morning in the city at 10:30 for the Illinois Lottery. So, you just keep going. You just keep driving. And for every 20 no's, you get a yes. And that yes lets you know you're on the right path. You can keep going, because there are some people that are getting 40 no's and they're quitting. And so you're really very lucky. So, you know what? Go to your local resources. Follow someone. Shadow someone. You want to do something like this? You don't know if you want to do something like this? Go to Kenosha community media events. Shadow them behind the camera. Shadow them behind the microphone. Take a step out. Give it a try. It might be the best damn thing you ever did. And one of the other things that was the best damn thing that I ever did, you've seen a German Shepherd go through here. Rock bottom will teach you lessons that mountains, you will never learn on mountaintops. That's another thing that I look at every day. You've seen a German Shepherd go through here. And another thing that I was doing in the meantime was I volunteer a lot with veterans. So I was working with canines for veterans with PTSD. They were going to be training me to be one of their trainers, and through them I met this shepherd. Oh, there she is. That's her commercial. That's why she's in here. Commercial for Crisp. That's Sadie. That's my Sadie girl. She has her own Facebook. Sadie Says, if you go to her and follow her, it's kind of an inspirational thing. But I wound up fostering her 2 days before she was due to be euthanized. So didn't know this, that when I met her, she'd been in seclusion for 30 days. And somehow we met and we connected and took her home with me. And people said, "You saved her life." No, she saved mine. Isn't that usually how it works? She saved mine. So everybody, there was the commercial that wound up on YouTube. So you know what? You have to believe in yourself more than anybody believes in you, and harder than you ever knew you had to believe in yourself. Because things will knock you down, things will set you back, and I am not stopping. I'm not SAG yet. They tell you to be SAG at the last given moment that you possibly can because you have more opportunities. So right now, I'm doing all of these films, but they're in different stages to where they haven't been picked up or they haven't been produced. Last month, I was playing a homeless person on Batwoman. The following week, I'm standing in for two people on Shameless. Probably one of the most fun times I had was an FX show when they taped the Versace murders, and I stood in for Judith Light. I got to be her double for 13 hours one day. She used to play on Who's the Boss with Tony Danza. She was playing Marilyn Miglin in this particular story, so I got to play with her for 13 hours. Well, that doesn't sound so right. I got to play her for 13 hours one day. So it leads to a lot of exciting moments. It opens a lot of doors, and you meet a lot of people. So in all those background episodes, you haven't seen me, you're going to see me. But what you don't see is how hard people are working in the meantime. The hours you're up all night, the tears, the can I do this, the I've got to read this. It's exhausting. But it's fabulous, and it's worth it, and it's people like you that help people like me, and anybody else that wants to get in the business, and what you guys are doing is amazing. I appreciate this opportunity, and you guys have been a new stepping stone in my journey, and I hope that, if anything, I've helped given somebody their license to get around to it. Has anybody seen one of these? Okay, it's a little piece of wood, and it says TUIT on it. Never saw this in my life. Now, where I'm working, I'm now a cashier, so that I can have the schedule that I have and change off days. And this guy that I was getting used to coming through my line all the time came through one day, and he put this in my hand. He said, when you go on break, read this. And I thought, well, you dog, I know you're married, and now you're giving me your phone number. Well. Don't judge, because it certainly was not the case at all. So I go on break and I pull it out, and it says, it's a little piece of wood, it says to it. So if you read the back, this guy had no idea that I was acting or that I was pursuing another life or dreams outside of what he saw behind that register. And the back of it says, whatever it is, how many times in our life do we say, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. One day I'll get around to it. This is probably the most important thing it says that you can hold in your hand, because this is your round to it. This is your time. It is time to step out and get around to it. So I'm saying to all of you, I don't have one to put in your hand. You're free to touch it and read it. But this is your round to it. Get up and go do whatever it is that you want to do. Give it a try. You don't always know how to do that, so talk to people. Kenosha Community Media, besides here, has many other resources than just their media program. They're talking about all the museums. They're talking about all the other contacts that they have. You've got a world open to you that if you want to try something else, go do it. So thank you guys very, very much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And I've appreciated you making me part of your family. You're now a part of mine. And this is your sign to go get around to it. So go do it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
And Mr. Schmerling would like to say a few words. Just a little, there we go.